Right, so what I want to talk to you about is how I got into photography. I got into photography in 2009 when I was at the racetrack. I used to be a marshal down there, doing the flagging and everything, and I just took just a little camera down there with me. And then I realised I wanted to get more from the camera. So I went and got myself a DSLR. I didn't know anything about it. I spent just under $1,000, and back then I thought it was expensive. And so I took that down, and then I realised, well, I really quite enjoy this. I want to get more out of the camera. I realised my limitations quite soon. Back then I had no idea what aperture, shutter speed and ISO and all that stuff was, different focal lengths. I had no idea. I thought it was actually the length of the lens thing. Stupid, really, kind of weirdly enough. So by the way, I hope you can hear me alright on this. I'm just using a G7X Mark II with the inbuilt mic. I can't put an external mic onto this, which is an absolute shame because I've got some nice Rode mics. In the future I will get a proper video camera so we can do more of these videos. So yeah, my transition, so when I started at the racetracks, and that's all I ever done. I didn't get into the landscapes, I didn't get into the portraiture stuff. I just stuck with the motorsport, and that's what I done. And so I got into it because I didn't want to be around people. So, and now that sounds quite funny now, because now I have to be around people to make it work and to network with other people as well. So I just was very much a loner. When I first started out, I was just giving my photos away for free, and without me knowing, I didn't realise I was pissing off so many other photographers who were actually trying to make a living from it, or even make some pocket money on the side with their day job. So I went, and my first kit was the 1000D. I got it with the kit lens, the 18-55, with the 70 to 300mm, I think it was back then. That was not a great lens, and I realised that very quickly. It at 300mm or even just past 200mm, it was very. Sorry, I'm just looking at a flash over here. Actually, I'm just going to move it. Actually, no, I won't. I think it'll be all right. Yeah, it's not very windy out here. So what was I talking about? Yeah, so the lens, it wasn't that great. So I went on Gumtree, which was a second where people can sell their stuff, and I bought this Sigma 150 to 500mm lens, and that was, I got it. I gave the guy some money up front, and I went back a few times when I was working an all-day job. I wasn't on very much money back then. And so I'm just so lucky it was a good seller that was doing it, because he could have easily sold it to someone else. I could have lost money, which that, you know, I was just hoping he would be a genuine person, and he was really nice. So I got that for $850, and I sold it about 2 or 3 years later for the same price, which is an absolute bargain. So I didn't lose any money on it. It was in really good condition as well. It was a very heavy lens. It would come to about, it was a very long lens as well when fully extended, but it got me some amazing shots in it, and it really taught me a lot. So and you know, today it's still a really good lens to get. Even you probably get better results from something like a full frame camera. That way you're making full advantage of the glass, and sometimes the middle of the glass isn't the best. So yeah, even maybe buying up with a 5D or even the 1D series cameras, that would be absolutely brilliant. But anyway, I'll go back to it. So I was going to the racetrack every single weekend. If there was car racing on, bike racing, just tuning days, anything like that, or even some ride days, I was going along to those. Getting out there as much as possible, taking as many photos as I could. Back then I would be shooting in JPEG, just using, you know, the shutter priority, aperture priority, or even auto modes, and just learning how it all works. And then when I was doing that, I was taking each weekend, or each day more or less, I was taking around 4,000 to 8,000 photos. Yes, that's right, 4,000 to 8,000 photos I was taking, which was absolutely crazy. And the reason why I was doing this is I was just trigger happy. You know, I was just in the moment. I had the adrenaline going. I was loving it all, and I was just taking all those photos, and it was just nice creating something. But later on, when I had to go home, that's when it it wasn't fun. It took me hours to go through, and I would sort them out on my computer. This is another thing that you should do as a photographer. You should invest in a quality computer, even a quality screen as well. You'll really see a difference in your work. Back then I was using just a cheap laptop, you know, Windows-based system, and the images looked fine on that. And then it wasn't until I went up to the mines in 2010 where someone had a MacBook Pro, and I looked at the images on that and I went, oh my god, my images are actually out of focus, not clear. And then I realised the screens are so much better. And the reason how I went into getting a Mac, it wasn't because this guy had it and he showed me all the features and everything like that. I quite liked it. It was different. I knew it was going to be a learning curve for me. And one day, after I just finished a day's shooting, I came home, I put the photos on the computer, and then I was just going through them, and then the blue screen happened. It died, it wouldn't boot up, I could hear that clicking sound, and I just had enough. I picked up the laptop and I threw it across the room. It smashed, it broke, everything. All the keys on the keyboard just came popping up, and I went straight down to the shops and bought myself an iMac over one of the 21.5 inch screens. So I got myself one of those, and then my photos started improving because I could narrow out what, you know, my focusing. So the photos that weren't any good, I could get rid of them, and then I could focus more on the quality and then improving as well, because I had a nice large screen that I was editing on. And I think that's what really helped me as well to improve the quality of my work, is just a nice computer screen and a nice computer. And then I had like a MacBook Pro, and since then I've been sticking with the Apple products, mainly because I think I'm getting value for money, and they've just built well as well. And I'm not going to go into it all, but the screens are nice resolution. I'm very happy with what I'm getting. If I compare it to the Windows base, yeah, sure, they might be quicker and everything like that in some aspects, but the quality of the displays is so much nicer, and I just like the way they are lit, basically. I think they're all backlit. Anyway, back into the photography. So yeah, I got that. I was working in the mines for about 4 months, earning my money. I bought, back then I wanted to get into racing motorbikes. So I got myself like an Aprilia RS125. I did get it as a road bike, and I converted it into a race bike instead. So I went up to Barbagallo here in Perth. When the motorcycle racing was available, you could go up there. As of recently, it's been basically shut out for bikes, so there's no more bike racing tracks here. And due to safety aspects, you know, it wasn't built safe. It wasn't safe for here. Didn't come up to the regulations, so it's now banned, and now just the car guys can use it. So anyway, I got myself a bike. I was building it up. I stripped it all down, and I was making it into a race bike. I was having a load of fun. I bought 2 motorbikes. I had one for the road and one for the track, and I was loving it. And then on my second outing out, or second time out on the Aprilia, I crashed. I was coming around a bend. I don't know what happened. I still don't know. If it wasn't for people who told me about what happened, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know to this day. And that's what scared me off bikes. So I'll tell you what happened. I apparently was going around the first turn, exited it, and I'd done a high side. So I came off. I lost traction, or something happened. Normally high side is caused by locking off the throttle, and then the bike rear wheel grips, and then it just flicks you over. So that's what happened to me. I high sided, I went off the bike, I landed on my head, everything was severely damaged. I got no broken bones, no injuries, I just had a load of bruising, no fractures at all. And yeah, so you can probably hear the train in the background. Oh, it's the car. Actually, I hope it's not my sister. No, it's not. She normally just mounts the curb and you can hear her scrape it. But yeah, so I had the crash. All I remember is I remember flying down the main straight, It was a 40-degree day, it was in summer, and it was boiling hot. I just drank a litre of water. I hopped on the bike and I went down this main straight before turn 1, and I went, oh, I feel a bit thirsty. But I think this was just because I was knocked out and I couldn't remember what happened. Maybe a bit of brain damage, I don't know, from it. Not much was done into me back then. So all I remember is I was riding down the main straight, and the next minute I realised I'm off my bike, I'm seeing ground in front of me, and I go for a tumble, and then I think I'm immediately getting up, and I run up onto the wall, and then I jump up on the wall where the safe spot is, and take my gloves off and take my helmet off. But what I was told is that I crashed in front of a coach, and then the next outing, about a minute later, I was still in the exact same spot. I had not moved, so I was knocked out. And yeah, then I woke up 3 hours later in the medical area, and then I was rushed off to hospital, where I stayed there for a few hours. All my kit got cut off me, all my leathers, everything. So that all got cut up. So that was all I lost, and after that I was never safe on a bike again, so never felt safe. So since that day I have not ridden a bike at all. I did try again in 2012, and I felt like I was going to kill myself just going on a normal road, normal highway, slight bend in the road. I backed right off the throttle and was scared for life. So I sold the bike, and ever since then I've been just driving my car. And so to be in the atmosphere of photography, and still being a part of it, I became a photographer. I sold the bikes, and I bought gear instead. I even got in 2012, when I was an industrial cleaner. I was spending money on gear back then, and things weren't going all that well. I was waiting to get a full-time contract, and they never gave it to me, and I was just it was a horrible job for me. It wasn't the right thing for me. So what I asked my mum was to give me a loan to get some gear, and back then I thought quality lenses and everything would make a huge difference in my work, and I got out this $8,000 loan for a Canon 300mm 2.8 Series 2 lens. It was an absolutely marvellous lens to use, so sharp, so nice, and I got a 2-time extender with it. I got it here locally at Camera Shop here in Perth, and I got it up to the track. My mum took some photos with me using this lens in the garden, and she was so proud of me as well. But I was making money as well from my photos. People were noticing a difference, and my work was different to what everyone else was doing, and that set me apart. Then other friends started getting longer lenses, then they were creeping back up on what I was doing. So for a few months it was good. I had about $2,000 worth of money coming in, and then it just dropped. I was making $50 a month, so I had no option but to sell the lens, and I made a loss of $3,000, and that's a lot to lose in just a space of I think it was about 6 months. So I sold it. I bought myself a Canon. I wanted to try motocross, so I got a 5D Mark III and also a 70-200 2.8 Series 2 IS2 lens, and I started in the motocross, and then I realised these guys early on don't spend money, and I very rarely made a sale. I had a load of interest, but no one ever bought anything. So I left that, and I went back into taking photos at the track, thinking that just a bit of a break would allow sales to come back in, and it did. And I was just using the 5D3, the 5D3 70-200 with a 2-time extender, and the 24-105, and just a couple of speed lights along with a softbox for some photo shoots. And that's all my kit. That was my kit right up until, so that was from 2013 right up to 2014 when I was in England. No, 2012 to 2014 when I went back to England in, when was it? July, and in October, I got the Canon 300mm 2.8 IS Mark I, and I also, that was another loan from my mum, and so as you can see, my mum really helped me out along a lot of this, and I had some sales coming in from Australia when I left, because back then I said I'm never going to be coming back, so people were snapping up some of the photos that were still available on the site. And so I moved to England. I got a Canon 1D Mark III and just started to grow my kit there. I went up to Brands Hatch one day and got into taking photos up there. And I met this guy James on my last day. I'd done 3 days up there. I was staying at the Thistle Hotel just outside Brands Hatch. I had no car back then, so I was just going up there by taking the train, and then I took a taxi and everything like that. So I took a train from Eastbourne to Brighton, then to London. Then I got another train from London, I think, to Swanley. Yeah, you'll probably know. I can't remember the exact town, and then I'll get a taxi from the train station to the track. But I stayed at the Thistle for 3 days, and I'm just going to restart this because it's coming to the end. So back to it. So I stayed at the Thistle for 3 days, and yeah, and that was really interesting. And on the last day, I met this guy called James. He was a media publication, which is something that I needed to get into to get trackside, and I wasn't expecting it. You know, I'd been shooting in this spot in the morning, and I thought on my way back, I was going back to the hotel, and I thought, you know what, I'll try this spot one more time. So that was different, and he was talking to another photographer, so I got talking with him, and yeah. Sorry, I'm just wondering if it's my sister. Doesn't sound to be. No, I think it's the next door neighbour. So yeah, I got into doing that. What was I doing? Yeah, so I got chatting with him. He was talking to another photographer. I handed out my card. He handed out his card. He got talking to me, and long story short, I became his official photographer for Paddock 42, and he got me into racing events in England. He got me into Goodwood Festival of Speed. I didn't have to pay anything for that. Most of the events I covered, I didn't have to pay. I got trackside access. Some of the bigger events he couldn't get me into, so like the BSB and all that sort of stuff, the British Superbikes, and some of the other stuff I wasn't able to get into, but I just shot through the fence and everything like that. You can still get good shots. You just need to basically know what you can do and what you can't do, and know what you can do in editing later on. So shooting through the fence, I basically can use the clarity tool, I think it is, or no, dehaze tool in Lightroom, and you can basically remove the fence from your shots. It's just basically, it dulls down your contrast, shooting through a fence, so you can basically just bump it back up and it'll fix it. So I done that, and I was covering events like crazy. I done, I think, 30 or 40 events in the space of just 3.5 months. I was travelling up and down the country, doing a load of miles, load of hours driving, a lot of shooting. So basically, I was basically eat, sleep, repeat sort of stuff. So what would happen? So on, say, the event is on a Saturday and Sunday. On a Thursday, I'm backing up my previous photos from the weekend I've just shot. And then I'm charging all my equipment, cleaning it as well. Then on Friday, I'm packing everything up into the bags that are needed. Just gonna wait for this to go by. And then so packing all of it up, making sure everything is charged, making sure everything is there, because the last minute I want to realise is, you know, 2 hours away from home, that I've left a memory card at home, or one of the batteries aren't flat charged, or I've left the battery at home. I've done that before, and I'll make sure all my batteries are all in the bag. I had this pouch where the batteries would be, and also the memory cards as well. I've got this card case, and make sure all the cards are formatted before I shoot, because I had a few times where in the past when I didn't format and it didn't work, and all those images would have been corrupt. And because I was using different cameras like the 5D3 and the 1DX, there'd be different formats, so you don't want to cross them over. And so yeah, I was doing that. So getting the photos ready, then driving to the venue on Friday if it was like 200 miles away, like 8 hours away. So I'll be driving the day before on Friday, get there late on Saturday, sign in and get my vest and everything like that, and be shooting that day. So I'll be shooting from 7 o'clock into the morning till about 5 o'clock in the evening, getting on the computer in the car because I would sleep at the track in my car, get them on the computer, sort through them all, back them up, have them on external hard drives, even sort through them so I've got some space on the hard drives and get rid of all the crappy ones, and that would take me about 3 to 5 hours to do. And then I'll get some sleep and then I'll be back up again, and I would do another day shooting on the Sunday, and then after the day shooting I will drive home. And I normally won't get home until about 2 AM. Get home, offload the photos, have a quick sleep for about 4 hours, then go on the computer and start going through them, editing the photos. I would do 16 to 20 hour days of editing on the computer, and I'd keep doing that, and it would take me about 2 or 3 days to get the photos done. Then I could have a bit of a break for a few hours, then repack and do it all over again. It was very stressful, a lot of work, and then I would also have to send the photos off, get a few photos edited and send them off to James at Paddock 42, where he would put them up on the site, write his write-up and everything about it. So I would normally get the photos sent off to him within 12 hours after the event, where he was only asking for them after until about Thursday, so about 4 days after. I was wanting to get them out ASAP and getting them out and getting the story out quicker, so it would set us apart from the rest. And that's what I done. And then I came back to Perth here because things weren't working out financially wise. So I came back to Perth, I went back to the track, started taking photos there. It was going well, I was earning a lot of money, had all this new kit, looked more professional, I had learnt a lot more, my work had really improved, and it was going well. I was earning like $2,000 a month again, and then the sales started just dropping off. I started falling out with people as well, and then yeah, just basically sales dropped off to about $50, and I just basically left it, and now I'm doing what I'm doing now. I've got an online store, and I had an accident last year which broke my back, so I can't do the photography anymore, well, motorsport wise. But yeah, so this is what I'm doing, and thanks for listening, and I'll do more of these in the future. So, and I'm having to rush this because my battery is going flat on this camera. But cheers for watching, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye all. So one last thing I want to say is that what I did miss out on the video is that in 2014, when I went to England, I started shooting in RAW, and I started shooting in manual. Before that I was too scared to, and when I went to manual, I realised everything just basically clicked into place, and I was able to, it was just so easy, and now I get it more accurate just shooting in RAW. I mean, just shooting in manual as well, and if I do need to fix any little things, I just shoot in RAW and I can edit it later on. Anyway, I just wanted to add this because I've missed it in the video, and I think it's quite a crucial little bit. Anyway, cheers for watching this if you have, and don't forget to subscribe, and also check me out on Instagram. That will all be linked below, and check out our store.